It's time for a news video. There are some interesting things that I didn't get to in my last news video that I made for you guys. And again, I'll keep making them, so stay tuned for all that. But seriously, there's some really weird stuff that Kickstarter's doing. There's some really odd, kind of awkward campaigns that are here right now, and a few other talking points I want to get to. So let's go ahead and get to it. Hey, by the way, huge shout out to my patrons, my subscribers, my viewers, you guys. Thank you so much for sticking with me. I know it's been taking me a while to kind of get back into things, but I am here. I'm ready to talk about some cool stuff. So, board games, RPGs, Kickstarter, crowdfunding. There is a whole host of things here, okay? So let's just dive right in. So starting things out with the Savage World of Solomon Kane RPG. This is the awkwardness I talked about. So this is an RPG that on its own looks really cool, right? It's got doing quite well, over 100,000, over 1,000 backers. So 67 hours to go. Everything's linked down in the description below, so feel free to check all that out. Thank you so much. Hopefully it helps you when I link them there. Anyway, so with the Solomon Kane RPG, as you can see, you can get the core version for about €29, and then which is about 32 USD at the time of I'm looking here, based off their conversion, or about it's so small, 65. Look how small that is, ridiculous. 65 for the RPG bundle pledge. I imagine that's what a lot of people want. As you can see, it goes from 128 backers to 410. By the way, they're delivering this this one, just the core, this year. That's pretty cool. Otherwise, it just flips 1 month later to January 2025, which is so crazy that it's 1 month difference. But either way, not that big of a deal, and you get the other stuff here. Otherwise, you get the RPG Vault, and as you see, this is actually the most popular one, and this one essentially comes with a big box of miniatures, which is where it gets a little weird, though even a lot of this art is still from it too. So if you didn't know, this RPG is based on all these miniatures. A lot of the art is based on what Mythic Games did with the Solomon Kane board game, a game that I absolutely adore. I love that game. So much fun. Such a great game. But it comes with all the Mythic Games baggage, which if you don't know what that is, I have several videos on my channel. Just search Mythic Games. You'll find plenty there. Suffice it to say, they sold the IP to this and to Monolith, who are now running this, and they made an RPG out of it. Now, I know several of their employees really dig the IP, so I know there's a lot of passion there. I know that they've done RPGs before, and from what I understand, they're fairly decent. There's even been like a Mythic Battles Pantheon RPG, I believe. So either way, they've done quite a bit, and as you can see, it comes with stuff like blast templates and dice and, you know, the map tiles and the stuff that you would kind of expect an RPG to have, though this is mostly a board game company, but I think they may be trying to change that. Either way, pretty interesting to see it back on Kickstarter, where you can get the minis again. Now, again, it's not the board game. They're not offering the board game. That board game is massive. It's probably just not something they're wanting to do either right away, or I don't know if they're going to do it in the future. Maybe. I don't know exactly what they bought. I believe they bought all of it, right? Which is why the logo is the same and all that. Like, they own that game now, and that IP and everything else when it comes to using it in this way, right? So anyway, I think they just did the RPG because they could kind of make that a little bit quicker than an entire board game, which has a lot more to do with balance because you don't have a dungeon master kind of running things, right? So anyway, it's wrapping up here, and they haven't quite hit the 48-hour mark, so it's going to jump up a little bit too. So kind of interesting to see it back. Honestly, any of these companies that are taking the crappiness that we had to deal with and making some kind of light from it, I'm okay with. I think that's all right. All right. This is just a quick shout out. The Secret World, I used to play this MMO back in the day, and it's so perfect for an RPG. I don't know how it wasn't before. So there's a lot here when it comes to like what they're doing and offering, and I'm not going to get into it, right? I mean, it just, I'm not into the RPG game. So just right now, I'm telling you that. Like, this is just, RPGs are not my thing really anyway. I appreciate them. I appreciate what they do for the industry because they do quite well. But the Secret World IP itself, big soft spot for me. I had to learn Morse code and read fake book reviews and learned some Hebrew, and the MMO was wild. It was crazy. So the RPG is awesome. If you like the Illuminati, and essentially the Secret World, if you didn't know, is like every kind of myth and legend and Sasquatch and Bigfoot and, you know, the Chupacabra and aliens and all that, it's all real. And so you're like these secret societies like dealing with all this. It was a pretty cool MMO back in the day. It was definitely different and I appreciated it. Cool to see it as a RPG. Okay, Dark Blood. So several of you guys have mentioned this, saying that I would like this. And this game is freaking crazy. I just, there's something here that I want to talk about that's just wild. Now, before I get into all that, because I'm going to be talking how cool this is a Euro game, which means it's not for me. It's that kind of like mechanic heavy, like engine builder kind of stuff. I appreciate it. I've played them before. I enjoy my time with them because I'm still around friends and I'm still, you know, doing cool stuff, but it's not something I typically bite at. And my family specifically doesn't really care for them, which means I will never table it at my own home. So just not going to happen. So anyway, the game's probably not for me, but the theme is crazy, and what they do with their miniatures is awesome. Okay, so this is coming out in 22 days. It's coming out like June 11th, right? So what is Dark Blood doing that's so cool? Again, I'm not going to get into all the like myriad mechanics and junk that they have. Like they got a whole bunch of stuff, right? Again, it's a Euro, so you're like moving tokens a lot, placing minis to like represent your, you know, different things, and it ain't no skirmish game, right? Now the renders, to me, they look like different people sculpted them. And I don't mean that in the sense that a lot of games have multiple sculptors. I mean it in the sense that I feel like they are of varying quality. And of course, a lot of them have to be translated then into miniatures, and I am less keen on the practicality on some of them. So for instance, you have this main one that they like to show off for obvious reasons, and it's actually really well detailed. The rock's really detailed, right? The clothing is really cool. The wings are neat, right? It's actually pretty well, they're like scaled kind of more appropriately. And then you have like this guy just kind of standing there, and you see this like negative space here. That's not going to fly, right? You're going to have to fill that in or really thicken those chains to the point where it's just going to be chains, right? So there's a few of those kind of render things. This one, again, seems not to be rendered to the same quality, I would say, as the previous one, right? The upside down cross, that looks fantastic. But then this guy looks very plain, and again, just standing there kind of awkwardly. So I get it. It's a Euro, so like you can't get too excited about the minis, but I can, and I'll show you why. It's cool. All right, so I must have skipped it. So hold please. It's a GIF. This right here. You can hang your minis. Guys, I went over this, I think, in my last news video when I was talking about Seismic and the fact that miniatures can be more than just cool, if that makes sense. They're not just a glorified token. In Seismic, they were talking about how they purposely made their minis to remind you of game mechanics. So it's very obvious. So like the mechs in the game can have a jump ability, so they made the mech model kind of launching off, right? Or the singer or signer, I forget who they were. Either way, the person that increases morale has a big flag and stuff like that. So it's stuff that actually can kind of help at a glance intuitively explain how the game mechanics work, or that there's a feature there. You don't just look at the mech that's standing there and think, oh wait, it has a jump ability. No, it's actively so you can do it smart. You can do it to where it makes sense. And this happens a lot in tabletop games as well. And it's why you can't necessarily kit bash too much, right? If it's got wings, it can probably fly, right? If it has like a medical bag and a syringe, it can probably heal, right? That happens a lot, and it's very nice to be able to read it and kind of intuitively know what it does. This is on another level, though. This is taking the miniature, and actually, when you're doing the sacrifice, you actually get to do it. Almost reminds me more of a children's game, like what is it Rat Trap or whatever, where you fling the thing and it moves over, and you're doing different stuff like that, or the stacking games and whatnot. Just things where you're interacting and actually doing something with the miniature or with the board game besides simply move a piece into a spot, right? In that case, you're literally taking the head of the mini and hanging it in the noose. Now, again, is that, I mean, maybe it's just kind of really showing that. I don't know for sure if that's going to be in the game. But gosh darn it, it should. I love it. I think that's fantastic. It's awesome. It really helps sell what it is you're doing thematically, which is a lot to say for a Euro game. Either way, totally cool. I'll link down to this below. That's wild. You get to hang your minis. I think that's super neat. Okay. This is something weird. Something weird. Kickstarter here. Maybe I've been gone. I get it. I may have missed this. Let me know. This is Adventure Time, the role-playing game. 1.6 million raised. Congrats on that. 7,500. Honestly, I'm surprised it was not more. I'm really surprised that it wasn't more, especially because you can spend up to like $400 in this game if you're a retailer. It's like slightly under that, like 390 something, like if you're just getting the all-in. So there's a lot on offer. You can spend a lot of money, and it has a lot of backers. So, and it's a very huge IP. I feel like the Adventure Time craze, correct me if I'm wrong, I have not actually partaken in watching the show so much, though I appreciate the IP, and I have some statues and some fun stuff, and it's cool. I get it. I feel like its heyday, its height was like a little bit ago, right? So a little late on that, and maybe that's what it is. I don't know. You let me know if there was maybe some issue here. It's a 5e, so it fits in with D&D and stuff like that, so you would think this would be a slam dunk case and still only raised 1.6 million. However, it's not done, and that's what's confusing me, because the campaign's over. Yet I still have this back this project button, and then right here, this campaign successfully funded on May 15th. I'm late. I get it. I'm late to a lot of stuff. But you can still pledge for available rewards. When did this happen on Kickstarter? How did I miss this? Why didn't you guys gotta tell me this kind of stuff? What happened? What's going on here? I kind of dig that. It's not necessarily, and maybe they're just not doing a pledge manager, right? But this is Cryptozoic. Traditionally, I believe they have. So I don't know exactly what Kickstarter is doing here, what this feature is or anything like that. I think it's pretty cool. I think it's neat. I like it because somebody that's late can come back and still back it and still get the Kickstarter exclusives and all that kind of stuff. It's awesome. I think that's cool. I like it. Anything that's like, hey, this actually helps consumers consume easier and better. I'm all for it. I think that's awesome. I didn't know when they started doing this. Why can I still... The line's blurred on when the campaign ends then. Did the campaign really end if you can still back the project? Just because they're done doing stretch goals, the campaign's ended? It looks to me like the campaign's still going. I could add money to it right now. I even clicked the button to check. In fact, this number has gone up since when I first started looking at it. So people are still backing it. It's still racking up the number, yet the campaign has ended. I don't know. You guys let me know. I'm curious. There's some weirdness going on here. That's all I'm saying. Zombie Horde was canceled. This is something I was kind of looking forward to, and by the time I get back to Kickstarter, it's already done. Obviously they weren't raising probably what they thought. Yes, the 25,000 goal, 88,000 technically get funded. We all know it didn't really. 840 backers, so less than 1,000. Your minimum order there. Ideally, you're at least getting 1,000 backers in something, especially that has miniatures and tiles, stuff like that. I think so. I've read it. There's been a lot. I mean, first of all, this is just, there's companies that make games and they're just not good at selling them. And like, this is a campaign page that doesn't look like it wants me to back it, which, like, this is a game that's like for me. Also, it's really ugly, and I think that's one of the big things. Like, they've updated the tile stuff, so they're asking for feedback. So if you have feedback, give it to them now. Go ahead, and I'll go and link to this one too, even though it's already canceled. So they have a few videos, but really small text, right? Like, it should just be like a GIF and then the text, not just like a GIF in the small little corner there. It's just really small. Like, look at the difference between this and then like this, right? Just small, skinny font. So a lot of you old dudes aren't gonna be able to read it. If I didn't have my context in, I wouldn't be able to either. I barely came with them in. Like the splash image is it's small. Everything about it's small. So if you go to the updates, they're like super like, hey, let us know like what's going. Oh, see, this is actually new from. So I looked at this like right around this time, so it must have just come out, where it has like, hey, look at this, that looks a lot different, right? This is the one I saw, right, where they've like really updated the artwork on the tiles to actually like not look like poop, right? So, but like, why didn't it look that way to begin with? I don't know. Why do they have to be told, hey, your tile shouldn't look like poop? I don't know. Dark Gate Games is interesting. They made Dark Rituals, which I thought was super cool. Thought it was super awesome. Just, it had these indie issues, right? And I think the same thing here. It's just like, for whatever reason, they can't quite nail it. And it's just kind of interesting. Anyway, that's them. One more thing. Dungeons & Lasers 6 Caves by Archon Studio, 2.1 million. See, this raised more than Adventure Time RPG, which just surprises me. Not that I'm not surprised they did raise 2 million. That doesn't surprise me at all. I'm surprised Adventure Time was as low as it is. That's what's in here right here. Notice this box is unempty, or it is not opened. I'm like, this was shipped to my old house. I had to get it brought up here. Now I have to get it set up. I will unbox it. I know it's late. I do apologize to Archon, who took the time to send it to me. I do feel bad about that. Obviously, I'll still do it. And you'll be able to lay pledge and do all that stuff later. But hey, Kickstarter would let me still do this. But look over here. I can't actually do it right now. So what the heck? Guys, that's it. That's all I wanted to talk through in this particular video. I'm trying to make shorter videos that are more common as opposed to these long form ones. So I know you guys like those too. All my unboxings will, of course, always be that way. But anyway, more news to come, more exciting topics. I have a very interesting topic video coming up about about this industry, about trying to find joy out of it, about being defeated. It's going to be cool. So like it's a really good video, and I think you should watch it, especially if you've had some negative thoughts around the industry lately. And if you follow crowdfunding board games, I imagine you have. So stay tuned for that, of course, as well. Everything's linked down in the description below. Guys, thank you so much. Again, happy to be back. And I'll talk to you guys again very, very soon. Bye, guys.